I hope this is working. We'll find out really soon. Okay, so I am Marsha McCartney, and I am with I'm the psychology teaching postdoc, teaching fellow at the University of Kansas. And I'm going to present on how technology was a really crucial part of our redesign of our one of our largest courses, which is general psychology. A couple things you should know about me. I love stories. I love to tell stories. So I'm going to tell you a story about how we redesigned this course and kind of our process. I also love cheese, which you're going to see here in just a minute, if I can get this to work. Go.
You're very proud.
I'm pressing the button. Try clicking on the screen first.
Click on the screen.
Click on this.
Yeah, there you go.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's real weird.
Yeah.
The game of life.
Okay, so I'll go back. So yeah, so this is the game of Psych, general psychology, 104. So it's known as Psych 101 elsewhere, introductory Psych. We call it Psych 104. I don't know why, and it's general psychology. So let's play. From the time whenever prehistoric sharks swam in the ocean that covered Kansas until fall 2013, faculty were taught general psychology. It was in a lecture hall. We taught in the lecture hall around 1,000 students a semester. One of the faculty members I talked to said it was like teaching to a wall of flesh, like it was just nothing. It just went, 3 levels of classes. So it was really crazy. So it was then that the faculty began to wonder if maybe smaller classes might be a more effective way to teach. So why am I bad at this? This created 2 problems. First of all, it wasn't financially feasible for faculty to teach all of the sections that this would result in, and we also didn't have enough classrooms on campus for all of these classes to meet 3 times a week, which is what they were doing then. Why are the buttons not working? Okay, so they decided to adopt a hybrid model. Each section meets just once a week for 75 minutes. Students are responsible for learning much of the material in the textbook on their own, coming to class with a basic knowledge of the day's content. Class time is then supposed to be spent building on this knowledge, doing active learning, and no time is supposed to be spent on lecture or reviewing things that are in the textbook. At this point, the large lecture hall class was discontinued, and we decided to go, I wasn't there yet, they decided to hire assistant instructors to do this. So these are first-year PhD students. They generally have no teaching experience, maybe some TA experience, and that's, and we call them assistant instructors. Whenever they are the instructor of record, we call them assistant instructors, or AIs. So spring 2014, we launched this hybrid model. So at that point, the AIs taught 3 sections each. We had a common textbook. We had a common final. They had to teach 10 core topics. But otherwise, the instructors operated really independently and autonomously. We had a textbook. It was an online textbook, an e-textbook. It was initially, it was open source. There was quizzing embedded in the e-textbook. The price later increased to $25 per student, which was still a good deal, so we were excited about this. Okay, so summer of 2014, the Psych department welcomed 2 new arrivals. So we hired Susan Marshall as the academic program coordinator, and she organizes all the sections of Psych 104. She also does Psych 210, which is our baby stats class, which we also use LaunchPad for. And they also hired me, and I am in charge of the redesign efforts for the department. I have 5 classes I'm working with, but my first 2 classes were Psych 104 and Psych 210. So let's move along to fall 2014. So at that point, the AI's teaching load increased to 4 sections each. We had 6 AIs. They were teaching 45 students in each section, so that's 180 students. They did have a TA to help with grading, but they were responsible for 180 students. Susan and I, at that time, we started doing backwards design, so we started developing the common course objectives, because after that point, everybody just kind of did whatever they wanted to do. The instructors were still operating very independently, very autonomously at this point. We had a monthly team meeting, but it was optional. You didn't have to come, so nobody came. We started having a few hiccups with our online textbook. So there was some incorrect information. We couldn't get data from the publisher on how our students were doing if we wanted to download things. Really slow load time for the students as they were going through this, and for the AIs. And it was super frustrating, and people were just complaining all the time. It was a very not fun environment to be in. So in spring 2015, we implemented our common course objectives, we implemented common writing assignments, and we started having a mandatory weekly instructor meeting. So they had to come to this. They were resistant at first, but then once they saw that this was actually good for kind of planning, they went with it. It was a great teaching develop opportunity for the graduate students who had never had any discussions about teaching before. So then our online textbook problems just got real bad. Like, I mean, it was like you were waiting 15, 20 minutes for your grade book to just load so you could see anything. And it was a big problem. So Susan and I were thinking, is this really the best textbook that we want to use with novice instructors, or with anybody really? And then we said, if we were thinking, what do we really want in a textbook? What are really our goals? And we decided that we wanted something that provided reliable and trustworthy information about psychology. It needed to be presented in a way that facilitated student understanding. It needed to have a low-maintenance platform that worked whenever students use it, whenever instructors use it, for the most part. We wanted a book that had quality resources so that the novice instructors could use these as they improve their teaching. Okay, so we made all these decisions, and we're at the summer of 2015. Time to breathe, because things are about to change. So fall 2015, we adopted a new textbook, and this was a big, big deal for us. We adopted introducing psychology with LaunchPad, and it met many of our criteria. So Daniel Schachter is a leader in the field of psychology. We were confident that the text would provide accurate, up-to-date information, and it would be presented to students in a way that was understandable. The book comes with, as everything does with LaunchPad, loads of instructional resources. So just so much that they were just overwhelmed almost. The platform is mostly free of technology issues. When we do have issues, there's a lot of options for tech support, and tech support is almost 24/7, so that was really amazing both for instructors and for students. We also, we set up a training in August for our AIs just to talk about teaching and everything, and our rep, Jess Gilman, came and talked about the book and got everybody set up, and was just fantastic with the level of support that we got. So other things that we did, implemented a common calendar. We reduced the number of writing assignments, so it was originally 10. We went to 4. Now we're at 2 with some peer revision. It's worked much better. With LaunchPad, we have required pre-class work. So we use Learning Curve for that, so that way students are prepared for class. We do a post-quiz after every class. and that just reinforces concepts from the chapter. We're trying to really implement the testing effect here so that way they can get used to recalling the information. So we have standardized unit exams, and we did that through LaunchPad. So the unit exams are online. They are open book, open note, and open friend. And this came about as I was walking by the union one day, and I happened to be walking in front of a group of about 3 students, and they were talking about how they had an exam due that weekend. And I'm like, we have an exam due this weekend. And they were talking about, well, you know, we really need to schedule it. We need to get this done before, because we have all these sorority events this weekend, so we need to get this done before Saturday. And another girl said, you know, we should take it together again. Let's find a time. Can we do it on Thursday night and take it together again? Because that was really, really helpful to kind of discuss it. And I'm sitting there going, we didn't tell people prior to this that they could, you know, use a buddy. So I went to Susan and I said, listen to what I overheard. What do we think about this? And so what we decided was we are going to allow it and we're going to encourage it for a few reasons. We've created test pools, so each individual taking the exam gets different questions. So if you have 3 people taking it, they're going to get 3 different sets of questions, so they're going to be exposed to the material more. If students are discussing the material as they're going through this, they're processing the content at a deeper level. We like that. There's also no way to regulate this. So it's easier to just let them do it. So instead of making them taboo, which would penalize those that tended to follow the rules, we just open it up so that everybody has this advantage of taking it. And so we tell our students, go, find a friend, take it together. This is a great idea. And they seem to really like that. Okay, so for next semester, we're doing more stuff. So we're going to link Blackboard and LaunchPad. I'm kind of testing out the link this summer with a small class that I'm teaching. We have 1,200 students in the fall, so we want to make sure things work before we actually do it. But yeah, we're going to be linking Blackboard so that way we don't have to import grades all the time. We're going to add late dates to our exams, so we do allow students to take exams late for reduced credit, so they get an extra week, which we were having to kind of like manually do. So now we're just going to add an extra assignment there that's going to pop up whenever the other one kind of goes away after the due date for the other one, and that'll be worth 80%, and that'll hopefully just kind of import over. So the AIs teach 4 sections, 2 on one day and 2 on another day, and what they've done is have parent-child courses. But that becomes a problem because students will email you and say, I have a question about my grade on such and such, but they don't tell you which section they're in. So then you have to kind of figure it out. So I think we're going to experiment with using groups instead of using the parent-child. That way everybody's all in the same course. So we'll see how this works. But we'll see. I'm also doing a lot of data analysis, collecting a lot of data. I've got graduate students working on it right now as we speak, I hope, on analyzing some of the data that we collected over the last year. So that's exciting. So yeah, so our process for the future is just to continue to review, reflect, and refine. And there's a trophy there because we're all winners. Yeah, so, and that's all I have. So,